If you're learning English, then you already know the struggle. An, and the. I mean, they're just these tiny little words, but they cause such giant headaches. But what if the secret to finally mastering them isn't in any textbook you've ever seen? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating theory from a source called Nature Window that might just change the entire game. So here's how we're going to crack this code. First, we'll look at the puzzle itself. Then, we'll explore a completely new way of thinking about nouns. After that, we'll unlock the real secret behind a and an, figure out the true job of the, and finally, ask if this changes, well, everything we thought we knew about English grammar.
All right, so let's just start with the problem. For so many people, these three little words feel like a constant, really frustrating pop quiz you never studied for.
I mean, really think about it. We're all taught it's about vowel sounds, right? But then why do we say an hour but a university? It seems like for every single rule, there's some kind of annoying exception. It can feel like you're just guessing half the time.
So, if you've ever felt totally lost with these, you are definitely not alone. This is one of the hardest parts of English. But what if the problem isn't the rules we're learning, but our entire approach? What if we've been looking in the completely wrong place for the answer all this time?
And this brings us right to the heart of this new idea. The secret isn't about memorizing more rules. It's about learning a new way to see and sort the world around you. Okay, this is a huge shift. This theory basically asks us to forget everything we've learned about vowel sounds, just for a minute. The real key, it suggests, is in how our brains naturally group things. It's all about perception, not phonetics. So how does this sorting actually work? Well, it all boils down to three simple visual cues: an object's shape, its color, and its other key features. And these three things are the building blocks for two brand new categories of nouns.
So category number one is called similar things. These are items that share a basic shape or structure. Think about books, right? They come in all different sizes and colors, but they all share that fundamental book shape. The same goes for things like cars or dogs or houses. They're similar, but they're not identical.
Now, our second category is identical things. And this is much more specific. These are items that share their shape, their color, and their key features, which makes them basically interchangeable. Think of a big pile of red apples, or a bag of oranges, or a line of ants. If you pick one up, it's pretty much identical to the next one.
Okay, so we've got our two categories, similar things and identical things. This is where it gets really, really interesting, because this simple sorting system is the key that unlocks the entire A versus an puzzle.
And here is the secret, laid out plain and simple. The rule is just this. You use A for similar things, like a book, and you use an for identical things, like an apple. That's it. Seriously, it has nothing to do with letters or sounds. It's all about which category the object belongs to in your mind. The source puts it perfectly. When you say a book, you're just pointing out one member from that general book family. You're separating it from all the other similar books out there, but you're not getting specific yet. Any old book will do. And the very same logic applies to an, but the group is different. Saying an apple separates one apple from a whole bunch of other identical apples. So here's the key distinction. A separates one thing from a similar group, while an separates one thing from an identical group. This table really lays it all out. A goes with the similar category, which is only defined by shape, like a car, and an goes with the identical category, which is defined by shape, color, and features, like an orange. See how that works? So that takes care of a and an. But where does the most common article of them all, the, fit into this new picture? Well, according to this theory, the plays a completely different role. It's the specialist. Its one and only job is to isolate and be specific. It doesn't care if the item is from a similar group or an identical group. When you use the, you are pointing to one and only one particular thing.
The source highlights that the refers to something specific that is perceived away from anything else. And that makes perfect sense, right? Think about it. Pass me a book means any book will be fine. But if you say, pass me the book, we both know exactly which book you're talking about. It's been isolated from the rest of the group.
So we've walked through the whole theory, but the big question is, how does this actually work in practice? Let's boil it all down into a simple process that you can actually use. It all comes down to this easy three-step thought process.
First, just look at the noun and decide, is the object I'm talking about part of a similar group or an identical group? Second, based on that answer, choose a or an. And third, if you need to point out one specific item, you just override those first two steps and use the. What's so powerful about this is how it shifts your focus. Instead of trying to memorize a bunch of confusing sound rules and their exceptions, you just have to observe the world around you. It's a logical framework that, for a lot of people, might just make everything finally click into place.
And there you have it, the nature window theory of articles. It's a totally different way to look at three very common words.